All right. Welcome everybody to the latest episode of the One of One Cards channel. My name is Luke and I am your host. In this week's episode, we have a very, very special guest. We have Adam Gellman. Adam,
Hey,
welcome.
thanks for having me. Appreciate you having me on.
So, Adam, I want to say that you are probably the premier person when it comes to the wrestling card hobby for just spreading awareness, news, and influence in what's going on.
I mean, sure. I mean, I've taken on as much as I can handle in terms of being an evangelist for wrestling cards, and it's been great to see how everything has grown over the last year plus, and even 2 years. But yeah, I mean, like it's a niche space, right? So when you have a small space and a lot of interested, growing audiences looking for content, I've done my best to fill those gaps for sure.
So you have done a great job. You are on Instagram, you are on X/Twitter, you are everywhere, and you are somebody who I follow quite a bit. And I thank you
Thank you.
for
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been fun, and I think like that as our space continues to get bigger and bigger, like hopefully more people will start to recognize that there's content creation and people doing really good stuff with trying to educate and inform from the perspective of what I try to provide, I try to do it as free as it can possibly be, and do it in a way that's digestible for everybody as best they can. So.
Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely. So in this week's episode, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be identifying some cards in the hobby that we think are undervalued. There are many different types of collectors out there, and I think it's important for us to start to identify what cards we think are, selling for a little bit less than they maybe should. So I will begin with the very first set of cards, and I think that would be the 2022 and 2023 Impeccable silver bar logo card inserts. And I have Becky Lynch one over here, as you could see. This card, I think I bought it for around like $130. You can get some of these cards, which contain 1 ounce of silver in them, for as low as like $45. I think that's absurd.
I mean, so these were created originally in the football products. They go back, I want to say to like 2017, 2016, even. It may even be before that. But Impeccable is a relatively new Panini set from the grand scheme of things, considering that Prism's been around since 2012. And Immaculate is shortly after that. Like this is one of the newer premium sets that Panini has put out. Although the silver bars really aren't a gimmick that I really gravitate towards. Like I see that in the one-on-one parallels, the gold, the smaller gold bars, like people really like them. I think what makes it so interesting is like a case of Impeccable. There's only 2 years of it in WWE, so a case of it is going to become lesser and lesser in terms of availability. But overall, they're gonna go up in price. And there's one of those per case, and most of them are numbered, I think, to what, like 35 or something like that. So I think like from a perspective of, given that they have a legacy outside of WWE, which always increases value because of the crossover collector base and everything like that. Like, I mean, it makes sense. It speaks to a very specific part of the people who are coming over from football or basketball, both of which have these cards. Although in those spaces, the cards are actually autographed in some cases as well. So I'm kind of sad that that didn't happen here. I think it adds a little bit more to the gimmick. I know for Eminence in one year, with Panini put out for basketball and soccer, they've had, really, really valuable versions of these, and they're even more premium product than Impeccable. So yeah, I mean, like it's one of those cards that has its following, and I think because there's so few of them in WWE, like that should create a natural supply issue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as I've said before on my show, they are probably the most thick cards maybe.
Yeah.
They're It's pretty nuts.
Although as some of these new Topps products are coming out, I think that's likely going to change
Oh,
because the thickness of some of the relics that they're going to be using
mhm.
is extreme. So if you've seen Diamond Icons or if you've seen
Yeah.
some of
Oh,
these
yeah.
other Topps
Blue,
products,
blue
these
cards.
cards
Yeah.
are bricks. Yeah, absolute bricks.
Hmm. All right. So next up, you want to identify one that you set of cards that you think is undervalued, and you said that was any Roman Reigns card.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard to identify sets because again, WWE is such a small universe of cards. Like a lot of the cards aren't going to be like, oh, this is undervalued or whatever. And I think Roman Reigns is the Tom Brady of wrestling.
Hmm.
And like he's not Michael Jordan, right? He's not going to be in that level, but like in terms of a modern legend that is currently at the forefront of everything, like he has accomplished more than anybody in like the history of wrestling. And he's done so in a way because it's in the modern era, like there isn't this nostalgia around his accomplishments the way that there is for like Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair, those guys, even John Cena, right? Like Roman Reigns really has done more than a lot of those guys have accomplished. And because he's not been on TV as much in the last couple of years since he signed his recent contract that gave him more of a part-time status, people think like, oh, he's not going to be as valuable long term. And I can say without a shadow of doubt, like just last night, he's on. I don't know if you're watching this
Oh,
on
yeah. Yeah.
Tuesday or on Wednesday, like this week on Raw, like he comes back and the reaction from the crowd is unlike anything that any other wrestler on TV for any organization will ever get. I mean, it is people are throwing babies in the air. And for whatever reason, like his cards are valuable. Like they are very, very valuable in the context of wrestling, but they should be exceptionally valuable,
Mhm.
more so than I think The Rock, more so than all these other things from a wrestling context, right? The Rock has all of the peripheral Hollywood stuff that really makes him the golden child of anything WWE collectible at the moment. But man, Roman should be right up there. Like he's main evented all these WrestleManias, he's won a number of them, has the longest title reigns. Like all of these things really speak to why his cards are absolutely some of the most undervalued commodities in all of WWE. And if you can see behind me, I don't have any vested interest in Roman Reigns. I collect one person and it's not him. But if I had, chosen somebody, that on the men's side of things, like I would absolutely think anytime you want to put your money in Roman Reigns, it's not a bad investment.
Yeah, I have several Roman Reigns cards on the more higher end of things. I would say that in the grand scheme of professional wrestling cards, I think I may have gotten one of the bigger steals in the history of Roman Reigns cards and maybe just wrestling cards ever. This right here, which I'll post a better picture later on, but this is a 2021 Tops Now Roman Reigns matte relic from WrestleMania 37. It's the one of one card that contains the matte relic.
Mhm.
Let's see if you can guess. I bought it in like late September, early October 2023. How much do you think that went for?
Probably under $500, I would guess.
$75.
Yeah, I
That's
mean the
perfect.
tops now, like that's what's so because I have a Becky Lynch one of one from when
Mhm.
she came back at SummerSlam, but that first go around of tops now stuff just never gets any value because you like collectors inherently will pay more money for cards that are gotten at chance levels versus just buying the cards straight out.
Mhm.
So the way that Tops now used to be is you could buy these, they were expensive. They were like $500 cards when you buy them off of the Tops website. And you have to be there when they drop. So like now if they did that, those cards would sell out so fast that it wouldn't even matter. Like the bots would get them very quickly the way they did with Panini. And now it's all a lottery system and it's all these much more focused individual sort of cards that are driven by the superstar and the event, just not the superstar. These matte relics, they tend to have a lot less appeal to the card collectors out there, and I can see why that one went for $75. I mean, people just don't really put a lot of value in the old Tops Now cards as much as some of them are pretty cool and tied to awesome events. Like I really like the Becky Lynch one I got from SummerSlam because it was such a big event, and the Matt relics are awesome when they're tied to that specific event, but they've Tops used them so much during their initial run, like people just are completely turned off by them.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But yeah, I feel like yeah, some of the Roman Reigns stuff though is definitely undervalued. You look at like some of his immaculate cards that he has. I mean, going for just a few $100s in like the gold out of tens. You would think that, that's again, he is the premier wrestler of this generation, and it's while he is wrestling, and yet they're not going for as much as some other big names.
Yeah, I mean, like he still has a couple of really, really big cards out there, and cards that really haven't been seen as much. Like, I know the Black Finite has already been pulled from Prism. A lot of the Black One of Ones have already been pulled from Prism. We haven't seen that flawless logo gem yet. I
Yeah,
think
that.
once that comes out, like that's probably a 20 to 25 thousand dollar card, and given what Steve Austin just sold for. And I think, but overall, like the Roman Reigns cards that are available right now, like you can get a Transcendent autograph, $300, $400. I don't know, maybe they've gone up since the last time I checked. You can find, the Chrome autographs pretty inexpensively, but he should be, given his level of accomplishment, he should be worth a lot more, in my opinion.
Mhm. No, I would agree with that. Next up on my end, I think that Chronicles, just in general, is an extremely underrated set as a whole because it just covers so much stuff. But in particular, I'm thinking of like the 2022 and 2023 Chronicles, the Gold, Optic, and Phoenix cards.
Mhm.
Those cards, Optic is just so popular in basketball and football. And I don't think it really gained a lot of traction in the WWE card community. Same for,
Not a standalone set, yeah.
yeah,
It's in Chronicles, and which makes it automatically less valuable. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think some of those cards just really stand out. I really love the design of them. I think that they're very bold. And then when you factor in the one of one in the gold vinyl, wasn't that the introduction of the gold vinyls into WWE for
Yes.
Panini?
Mhm.
Yeah, and yet those cards didn't really those don't really go for a whole lot of money. I saw like a Sami Zayn card recently.
Well, I
Or I
mean,
should say
some
a
of them
lot
do.
compared to like the select gold vinyl and the
Well,
superfractor.
I think there's a major difference, right? So like the the main thing with the Chronicles sets is that because they're broken out into subsets, combined and like squished together like into this big wad of gum that is a Chronicles product, like it's really interesting to see how the market reacts, but some of them go for a lot of money, especially like the Phoenix Gold vinyls that were introduced, and some of those other ones can sell for a lot. I mean, I think of how much I got the Becky one for.
Oh,
Um,
yes, yes.
so I mean, like some of these are heavily chased. The I like the this year or this 2023, the most recent Chronicles of the Phoenix, I think are my favorites. I like the optic ones from 23. I think those are really nice. Just because they're like a flagship type superfractor gold vinyl. But the reason select I think is so much more is because it's select. It's
Mhm.
like the legacy of select and like the crossover appeal of the select cards make them a lot more collectible, especially because of the fact that there's three sets of select and not and there's only one gold vinyl that's year of gold vinyl. Plus, you have like the ringside versus concourse and mezzanine, like all that other stuff. Like, there's a reason why I think the select ones are a lot more valuable and will remain a lot more valuable. But a lot of those Chronicles ones are really, really nice. I definitely wanted to get my hands on the Becky one from 2023, and I'm still looking for the Phoenix one. So if anybody out there has it, I definitely want it. I think it's an awesome picture, and I love the design. So
We might have to
yeah,
be
absolutely.
battling for that one, but I think you might be winning that.
We'll see. I haven't seen it come out, and there's so much of the Chronicles set out there. Like,
Yeah.
people have been starving for products, but man, like, there's so much of the Chronicles, and very few people opened it. I still keep my eye on like the breaks and stuff like that for Chronicles because it's so interesting to see how people react to it, and it's just. You don't see much of the big cards. I think Tiffany just sold
Mhm.
recently. She sold for like $1,000. It wasn't much.
Mhm.
So $1,200 maybe. Alexa, I think, has sold in the past for 2,000, 2,500. But these aren't like $10,000 cards, and I think they're very nice, very, very underrated in that respect for sure.
Right. SGC 9.5, Becky Lynch just sold for like under $80 in the gold out
Yeah.
of 10 for Phoenix yesterday. And then I saw recently like a Sami Zayn Phoenix one of one sold for, and then the gold vinyl sold for like under $300. No Sami
Yeah,
Zayn.
the Phoenix ones are going to be
Yeah.
significantly cheaper than the Optic ones because, again, in football and
Yeah.
especially football, Optic is one of the biggest sets that they release every year. So, like, you have those crossover collectors that are going to want to come in and buy in the Optic gold vinyls, especially because there's not a standalone set for WWE.
Mhm. All right. So next up for you, you had 2024 select throwback cards.
Mhm.
Explain your reasoning for that.
So I have two retail subsets on my list because again, I think a lot of the hobby, like it's hard to fly under the radar with a lot of this stuff unless it's like a buried subset in something else. One of the ones I was gonna put on my list was the star swatches from Flawless, but like
Mhm.
everybody already knows that. That's like saying, go buy the Mercedes because it's nice. Well, it's great. Everybody knows that. The select throwbacks are a retail subset, and they only have like four parallels as opposed to like 10 or 15, and they are a gold vinyl 101 copies of them. Good luck trying to get one because I think Josh owns just about every single one. And follow him at Ronda Rousey Super Collector, I think is on Instagram. But he has like every single one of them except for Becky. And like these cards feature some of the best photos from a like there's two types of photos in wrestling, right? There's the match graphic renders that they use, which is just them standing in front of like a screen and they take a photo. And there's the action shots, which I'll get to here in the next one that I put on the list. These are all renders, but they're like top quality. Like the renders just look awesome in every single one of the sets. Tiffany Stratton, Roman Reigns, Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The checklist is awesome. But the best part about it is like they are from or they're reprints of I think it was 2013 or 2014 Select, and which was the first Select set that they made under the non-score banner in football and basketball, and it's such an iconic set, and I don't think people recognize the importance of this set outside of WWE. So when I'm looking at that and I'm seeing, hey, it's retail, which means every single pull is going to be 10 times as hard. It's four parallels, which means very few of them exist anywhere on the market. And most importantly, there are set collectors out there buying up literally every one of them, trying to find these sets in any way, shape, or form is going to be really difficult. But they're still undervalued because I think they have this appeal outside of just the normal WWE collector.
Mhm. Yeah, and I was looking. You can get a lot of the gold out of tens for like a couple $100.
Hmm.
Get a lot of the tie dye out of 25s for probably under $100 at this point. So yeah, and as you
Yeah,
point
but they're
out,
gorgeous cards. They
oh
look
yeah,
so cool in hand.
yeah, and then as you pointed out that compared to other cards, there's just not a lot of parallels of them. What is it? The blue,
Hmm.
red. That's about it, right?
I mean, well, the 2024 Select retail product, they cooked in or baked in quite a few cool insert subsets. I think they have the NXT alumni, they have that, plus they have like the icons and everything. So like the parallels are those. So not only you get like one of those subsets per blaster, and then you get maybe one or two parallels of those per blaster case. And then to think of like how difficult it is to pull the golds or even the gold vinyl super fractor type Like it's close to impossible. I almost put the select tiger stripes on this list for the same reason because people just don't know how difficult these are to find because even if there's 10 copies of a gold select throwback, the chance that all of them are going to surface is very unlikely. So you're likely fighting over three copies, maybe at the most, and paying $100 or $200 for those cards is just that it's no brainer. Like those cards are so awesome and they look great on your shelf. As soon as the one of one was posted for Becky, I jumped all over it because I knew that Josh was going to be chasing it, but also because like it's literally my favorite. It's one of my favorite Panini cards that they produce. Period. End of story.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I actually I don't have any in them, but I remember we had talked right around the time it popped, and yeah, I missed out on it. I think I was driving home, and you had gotten everything.
Yeah, it's such an awesome card.
Yeah. So next up on my list, it- we're looking at like 2015 to 27, actually like 2014 to 2017 tops. A lot of the top superstars in WWE, particularly in the women's division. You're looking at Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Bayley. Um, a lot of them have rookie cards or first NXT cards in there, and in my opinion, those even in grade, high grade PSA 10s, refractors, X-fractors, they just don't go for a lot of money.
Yeah, it's really unusual. I think 2015 Chrome
Mhm.
especially was such an odd set. And like we all think about 2020 Chrome like it's like the one of the best wrestling sets ever made.
Mhm.
And no one is wrong in saying that because it absolutely is one of the best wrestling sets ever made. But I don't think like 2014 Chrome, you had the subset rookies, which is Bailey and Charlotte and Sasha, and there was like a couple of other people in that, maybe Kevin Owens, I can't remember, but the main ones are Charlotte and Sasha Banks and Bailey. There's no parallels; it's just those cards, mainly because Chrome might have been 250 cases produced, period. So like it was such a tiny subset. The tops cards for those years are very spotty at best. Like you have weird parallel structures, like hard to find parallels in any shape or form. Like I still haven't seen a 2013 Roman Reigns gold parallel from his rookie. Or Seth Rollins for that matter, let alone any of these major rookies. Cards never pop up, and when they do, people just don't know to look for them. So you look at like 2015 Chrome, the parallels are all over the place. 2015 tops Heritage. I mean, all these like it doesn't have the same crossover appeal that a lot of the Panini sets do. So there's not as much information out there for people to digest. So a lot of people aren't even looking for these. It was really before rookie cards were a thing. Like I remember going on like ComC and like trying to find all the AJ Styles cards from like 2015 Heritage and all these other and Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair because they were going for like 50 cents or a dollar.
Not a
And
lot of money.
once the Panini era started, like a lot of these rookies and stuff started getting more expensive. They went from like 50 cents to $5, $10. And, it was easy money to pick them off because it was so easy to predict the value of the rookie cards, year over year.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm always blown away by how, and again, while I think the design and like the way that they've presented the Panini cards are much better than like the mid 2010s tops products, but
Yeah,
it's always
agreed.
fascinating how like some of these Panini cards of, seventh year of wrestlers are going for more money than like the first.
That's a whole other discussion,
Yeah,
but I've got an hour long talk track on that one too. It's
I'd love to
like
join you on this.
it's a lot of people don't understand it in the wrestling space because it's such a foreign concept, but the rookie cards of those women, especially Finn Balor, Asuka, Kevin Owens, like they all came of age during these times when Topps was slowly moving towards sort of what we understand the modern approach to the ultra modern approach to be. And it's weird because like baseball ultra modern, basketball and football ultra modern is really already well in its prime area in that time frame. Whereas wrestling is still very much almost like the regular modern era, which is like just coming out of the mid 2000s, where parallels are starting to get more and more likely to be included in a product. That wrestling was behind because it was maybe sixth on the ladder, seventh on the ladder, behind like baseball, football, basketball, Star Wars, like, Rainbow Bright, and then ten other rungs, and then wrestling. Like, Tops really didn't care about wrestling as much as they did these other licenses that they had, because the market wasn't very big. Then Panini comes in and the market explodes. More and more people are looking for, the parallels and accessibility of the two collections coming together. So if I have a football collection and a basketball collection, I'm going to gravitate towards those cards in what Panini offers much more easily. So
Yeah, it's kind of the more strange thing, and it's like WWE didn't even really talk about the Panini cards at all.
you know,
And
when
then
they did it first, there was a couple of mentions at first, but like the like access. So again, going back from like 2024 back to like 2000, the access the card companies had in wrestling was zero. Like, I mean, they had a little bit here and there to like get some fun things done, but it was insanely rare for them to have the access that Topps and Fanatics do now, only because their partnership is so strategic. So it's just, it doesn't exist. It didn't exist. And like, especially leading up to Panini, where you had the Topps products in 2021 were just on the cusp of being sort of the full like baseball experience, where you have like bunch of parallels, cool stuff included, like the culmination in 2021 Transcendent, like I think was probably the top of the mountain for wrestling cards prior to the Panini era, just because it was all sort of like climbing up to there. But before that, like going even back to the 2017, 2016, when I started collecting wrestling cards,
Mhm.
like these cards, I mean, having $1,000 sale in wrestling happened once a year.
Yeah.
Now it's happening once a day. So just like it's very unusual.
Yeah, so it looks like we're keep going up though. That's the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And now your last pick. Now this is an interesting pick because I know that this is a type of card that goes back to the mid 1990s with like
Hmm.
1994 WWE. This was the Panini Chronicles 2023 action-packed 24 karat gold parallel. Um,
Hmm.
why do you choose that?
So I chose this because it's a retail thing. Very few people are still thinking about this, but I don't think as many of the Panini era collectors coming over into WWE really understand the importance of action packed in wrestling. The Macho Man and Undertaker sort of cards from those eras are still some of the best that have ever been, made. People chase those to this day. And then out of nowhere, Panini comes and says, "Oh, we've got the Action Pass Packed IP license, and we're gonna put it in Chronicles." And no one knew it was happening. It was awesome. The cards look absolutely awesome, and like I remember when it came out, and like a few of the wrestling collectors that still had it back in their collections from when it was originally released, like we all freaked out and we're like, "This is so cool!" But I don't think a lot of people really grasped how important it was and all the things. So that's why I put it on the list, because again, this is such a small niche. Like, people know everything. That's one of those sets that really flies under the radar, and there's so few of them because again, the action packed cards maybe were one per blaster. The gold cards were one per case. Maybe they're $60, $70 cards,
Mhm.
but they're really hard to find and they're really awesome looking.
Yeah, I was looking on eBay a little earlier, and there's like probably maybe like a dozen of them listed.
Yeah, there's not many.
Not a
There's
lot.
not many. And they're hard to pull, and they're hard to find. That's why I'm choosing a lot of the retail stuff, because anybody that has opened retail in mass knows how difficult it is to pull something nice. And that's why I chose that set.
Hmm. Yeah, and they look great. I think specifically Undertaker from the mid '90s has a couple of those. I love the one of him in the casket with Paul Bear.
Hmm.
One of my
Yep.
great cards, and yeah, they do look really unbelievable. But yeah, a lot of people, yeah, you said just don't realize they exist because they just were
I mean, I know Steve, who picks all the photos, who picked all the photos for those cards. I know he spent a lot of time sort of finding the perfect shots, and like, man, he did such a great job throughout Panini's run. But that and photogenic were kind of like his coup de grace, and like, I think it was really, really awesome to see what they were able to accomplish. And it's too bad they didn't have autographed versions of those cards. I'm going to try and get some of them signed here coming up, but
Oh yeah.
man, like it's such a great looking set, and it has a lot of history, which is not Panini history. It's like pre-Panini, pre-Tops. Like it is really old school wrestling history that Panini brought back to the fold, and it was so cool to see.
Yeah, and then yeah, with the whole like autograph history too, with
Yeah, some of the first autograph cards in wrestling. Yeah.
Mhm. So before we wrap things up, anything that you would like to add, or any other suggestions that you would have for WWE cards?
No, I mean like I think the whole space is undervalued. I mean, given the fan base size is so gigantic, like it's shocking to me like that it's still thought of in sort of the manner that it is. Like a lot of people still look at it very with a lot of weird gazes, and you tell people, "Hey, I collect sports cards." They're like, "Oh, that's cool. It's now a hip cool thing." Or I collect Pokemon cards. Like everybody understands why that's now a thing. But say I collect wrestling cards, people look at you like, "Really?" Like so, I think like it still has a lot of room to grow, and it still has a huge fan base to support it. So now it's just a matter of like, okay, if these things are truly undervalued, like what needs to happen for them to grow in value? And I think Topps is doing a very good job, sort of bringing awareness to the cards, even though they aren't releasing products. Like
A whole
things
other
are
story. Yeah.
a whole yeah, but I think overall, like what they're doing to bring awareness is different. Is a different path than the way Panini did it. Panini kind of relied on everything that they were doing in other sports to fuel the competitive element in WWE, but Topps was really putting a focus on WWE specifically. I just hope that they can release some more products so we can continue to engage, but that's a whole different conversation.
So what one last question. So coming up, what product are you looking for forward to for WWE?
I mean, I know like everybody's excited for royalty for obvious reasons. I don't think people fully understand how crazy things are about to get with that set. So, like people are saying, well, it's the next flawless or it's the next immaculate. It's like absolutely not. This is I like there's so much that Topps is going to be doing with this product. I don't think people recognize how crazy some of the cards are going to be. They've previewed some of the stuff already. You've seen the WrestleMania relics, you've seen the debut relics, you've seen some of the things that they have to cut up. They talked about that at the industry conference, but like people have no idea. Like this is going to be the most insane wrestling set ever created, and it's not going to be close.
Wow. I'm looking forward to Finest. I've always liked Finest in baseball. I feel like that's going to be a really great design. Especially, I love the Finest Superfractors. I think they always look great, and
I
hopefully,
like those too. Yeah.
hopefully one can
Yeah.
go.
I think Finest is an unusual set because they've changed the format of it completely this year. So like if you've seen it in F1, if you've seen it in baseball, like the way that they've built it this year is completely different. Um, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. We'll have to see it in practice, but yeah, it's going to be a fun set for sure. I hope it comes out quickly because they can definitely do it very fast. So
Yeah. All right. So I want to once again thank you very much for participating in this week's
yeah.
episode. You want to give a shout out to your social media accounts?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at WWE Gellman. You can follow me on Twitter at SC Uncensored. You can also see all of my content at www.patreon.com/, main event wrestling cards, all free. Just come on, join the party. We'll have a good time.
Absolutely. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the One of One Cards channel on YouTube, as well as the One of One Cards channel on Instagram as well. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.